then I would like to basically call this meeting to order, if I may, just so we're conducive to everyone's time. And of course, please note that if you are not necessarily called on or speaking, that we would prefer that you mute just for the good of not talking over everyone. And please note as well that as we do roll call, that Denise will be calling on individuals. And once we are called on, we please need you to state your location and, of course, where you are Zooming from this afternoon. So with that, I would like to call this meeting to order and start with the roll call. And Denise, if you don't mind just calling on everyone, that would be great.
Sure. Okay, no problem. Hold on. I have another person coming in. 1 second. Okay. Okay. Commissioner Button.
Hey, I'm Kenzie. I'm here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Hall.
Tim Hall, participating remotely from Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Mozak.
Hi, Commissioner Mozak from Ann Arbor in my home.
Commissioner Solomon.
Matthew Solomon, Commissioner, Ann Arbor, Washenaw County, Michigan, USA.
Thank you. Commissioner Gossage.
Here, and I'm here from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Commissioner Poster. You're muted, Commissioner Poster.
Okay, now I'm not. I'm recording from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Commissioner Keeler.
Commissioner Keeler, and I am at my go-to-meeting chair in my home in Ann Arbor.
Chair Damon.
Yes, good evening. Larry, I have to get me one of those. Yes,
It's a recliner, man.
I thought about it.
there we go. But yes, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Zach Damon. I'm the chairman, and I am coming from Ann Arbor, Michigan, Washenaw County this afternoon. So welcome, everyone, and thank you for taking the time on this beautiful summer day to be with us.
We have Council Member Nelson available.
Thank you. I'm dialing in from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Thank you.
All right. Is that everyone?
That's all I have now, yes.
Okay. So if we have everyone, again, welcome everyone and thank you. I'd like to move on to the approval of today's agenda. So if any of you did not get a copy of today's agenda, I would like to ask if Denise wouldn't mind just putting a link in the chat so people could view it if they did not get a copy, but it was sent out to you guys through email. So hopefully everyone does have an opportunity to review the agenda. I'll give everyone just a couple of minutes to look it over. If there are any corrections or anything that needs to be put on there or taken off at this time, please mention that at this time.
Okay, I don't see a chat when we come into the webinars. So if anyone needs an agenda beside Commissioner Poster, I'll just send one via email.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I apologize. I didn't realize there wasn't
It's
a
okay.
chat feature on your end. Okay. All right. With that, folks, if you've had a couple of minutes just to review the agenda, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
All right, Jerry moves, and is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Kathleen seconds. If you could, folks, just raise your hand and unmute. All in favor of approving today's agenda, please say aye.
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 Great. Thank you very much, guys. So the agenda is approved. So next, we're going to go ahead and move to the next item, which is the approval of our meeting minutes from last month. So if any of you have any questions about those meeting minutes from last month, please let us know. I didn't see anything that needed to be corrected at this time, but if any of you have anything that you would like corrected for the minutes, you can either mention it at this time, or what I would like to suggest is let Denise and I know through email if there are some corrections and we can get those corrected. But I'd like to motion to approve the minutes because I didn't see anything to be corrected. So is there a second?
I second it.
All right, Deb seconds. And if everyone could unmute, and if you are in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you guys. Okay. Next, we have public comment. So I'd like to welcome any viewers or any people that are on the call this afternoon to make themselves known and say hello and introduce themselves if we do have anyone on the call this afternoon. Denise, do we have anyone listening in or anyone that wants to make public comment this afternoon?
No, I don't see anyone at the present time.
Okay. Well, there we go. So I guess we can move on from public comment. Next, I would like to go to the presentations portion of our agenda for today. And of course, we always have the awesome Katie Monkiewicz for the Washenaw Library for the blind and physically disabled. So I'd like to introduce Katie. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good to be here. I actually have some new updates for you today. So I do want to let you know that all of the AADL COVID-19 services currently remain in place, but we are planning for our reopening date on July 12th. The library's plans are intended to fully reopen the system with as few restrictions as possible, while also minimizing the chance of future reclosures. Library staff are already working to transition library spaces back to a browsing configuration and preparing collections, services, and software for a July reopening. All 5 locations will open on Monday, July 12th at noon. The library's hours will remain noon to 8 p.m. 7 days a week, with a plan to return to regular hours by September. Leading up to the reopening, all library locations will be closed from Friday, July 9th through Sunday, July 11th, to remove the contactless lobby pickup shelves and infrastructure. When the library opens, all collections will be available for browsing. All public seating will be available at all locations. Hold shelves and self-checkout stations will return, and public computing, printing, and copying will return. All meeting and studying rooms will be available on a first-come, first-served basis. We will have some outdoor events this summer in partnership with the Ann Arbor Summer Festival and others. Room bookings, rentals, exhibits, and indoor events will resume in September. Some things that we've developed during the pandemic will remain in place, such as shelf service, printout pickup service, and locker pickup appointments. We've also been making some improvements since we've been closed. So if you come to visit us downtown, you can expect to see new energy efficient lighting and newly renovated bathrooms in the kids department, new movable shelving and lobbytorium gallery screen on the first floor, new carpet and flooring installed throughout the second floor, and new power outlets for atrium seating, as well as a newly renovated program room and podcast studio on the 4th floor. All 5 locations have been newly painted, and we are working on adding generators to Mallett's Creek, Pittsfield, and Traverwood branches. If you have any questions about AADL reopening or need help with any of our current services, please call us at 734-327-4200. So that's all very exciting news, right? Also exciting is that the summer game has begun. You can visit play.aadl.org to learn more and get started. And while not necessary to play, our physical summer game cards are available at all of the branches. We're celebrating Pride Month this month with 30 Days of Pride. Visit aadl.org/30 Days of Pride to see our calendar of events, including quotes, poems, crafts, and more. And I've got some materials to share. As usual, WLBPD patrons can order digital cartridges by calling 734-327-4224 and leaving a message or emailing us at WLBPD@aadl.org. To sign up for the Braille and audio reading service, BARD, or to download your own books, in order to download your own books, visit nlsbard.loc.gov or call us and we can assist with that application. Some titles that have recently been added to BARD are Loving Sports When They Don't Love You Back, Dilemmas of the Modern Fan by Jessica Luther. Two sports writers explore what it means to be a fan, even as ethical concerns complicate the games we love. Topics discussed include the CTE dangers in contact sports like football, racist mascots, fan favorite players accused of domestic violence, and more. Finding Freedom by Erin French. Chef known for her focus on Maine ingredients and culture and whose restaurant fills its seats with people from all over the world, presents her journey to becoming who she is. French shares the challenges she has faced, including dealing with drug addiction and what has brought her joy. And How Done It, a masterclass in crime writing by members of the Detection Club by Joan Walker and Martin Edwards. Essays on crime writing from members of the Detection Club, originally formed in 1930 by British mystery writers. Contributions are from past and current members, including Agatha Christie, Dorothy L. Sayers, Ian Rankin, Val McDermott, Anne Cleves, and John Le Carre. Topics include plots and publishing. That's everything that I have for you today. Does anybody have any questions for me?
That was really, really neat. I think that's really exciting that you guys are opening. The question I had for you, Katie, is since you guys are going to be reopening, I guess, to, you know, sort of the regular activities, are individuals still required to wear a mask upon entry? Are they able to take it off? Say if they're at a computer or if they're sitting and reading a magazine or book, what's the policy for that?
So I think that we'll have a little bit like more solid update for you on that when we open, depending on what the state and MOISHA mandates are at that time. Right now, I know that we are asking that people wear a mask, you know, and then if people are exempt or unable, you know, we're making exceptions for folks, but that's sort of how we stand right now, but that may change.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Kathleen?
So my question is directed towards the hours of operation. I was sort of surprised to hear you say 7 days a week, noon to 8, because typically before pre-pandemic, Sunday, I believe you guys closed like at 6 or something like that, the same for Saturday. So is that really true? You're going to stay open on the weekends until 8 o'clock?
Yeah, that's what we're hearing is just the way that we've been kind of working with staff is we're working in pods and there's different ways that they're scheduling people. And so I think that that's just part of the transition is like, we'll have those study hours so we can get some real like steady schedule going for our staff. And then once it's going to be like a slow transition. That's from what I understand. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions for Katie at this time? All right.
Okay.
Well,
Thanks
Katie,
for having me.
yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone at the Ann Arbor District Library for all you guys do. And please check out some films and also some great books at the Ann Arbor District Library. Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Next, we have Alex Gossage, the Executive Director of the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Unfortunately, I've been having some technical difficulties, so I don't have my typical roster of events in front of me right now. But what I will remind everybody is that the center is available to assist folks who are in need of resources, questions answered, and other things that they are just trying to figure out. We're always open to the community. Right now, our office building is not open to folks, but you can reach us at 734-971-0277. We are also looking at reopening to the community later this summer, but because of the fact that some of our staff have, or several of our staff have additional issues that are complicated through COVID and other ailments, we're being extra careful right now. So I'm not running us toward opening again. But again, we're available. We're providing services online. As speaking of virtual services, one program that we were able to receive funding through a partnership with Area Agency on Aging this summer, as well as some additional support through the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation, is our Technology Access Program. And that is a program that is allowing us to give people with disabilities living in Washenaw, Livingston, or Monroe counties tablets and or hotspots. And when I say give, I mean they are free. You just have to give us a call at 734-971-0277, or you can email Elliot Carter at ecarter@aacil.org. The money that is being used specifically from the Community Foundation is for seniors specifically, but we have plenty of resources left, so we're always happy to share and help folks get connected. And that's what I've got for today.
Alex, that is so awesome, man. The Technology Access Program at the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living. Quick question, though. So those tablets and hotspots, I imagine that those are loaned out, correct? They are not given to the individual for permanent use.
No, they're given to the individual for permanent use.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. Okay, great. Yep. Well, then, yeah, folks.
I think we have two options. They're both Lenovo tablets. I don't recall the exact ones offhand, but there are two options.
Okay. No, this is great. And you said it's open to seniors and then also
and people with disabilities.
Okay. And then is there an age limit, do you know?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, guys, that is amazing, Alex. Thank you for that resource. As you know, technology has become ever more prevalent, and I think that that is something extremely innovative that the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living is doing. So thank you. That's really awesome. Any other questions for Alex in the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living? All right. Well, thank you, Alex. We really appreciate you and everything the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living is doing for the community. And for more information, please feel free to reach out to them at aacil.org or at the number mentioned earlier. All right. Next, we have the Community Engagement Committee Ann Arbor Inclusive Update with Rachel Hawkins. Is Rachel with us this afternoon?
Rachel's not here presently.
Okay, no problem. We can go past that and I can just follow up with her at a later time. So next I'd like to go to the Partners and Access Committee. And again, back to our fellow commissioner, Alex Gossage.
Back to me. So Larry and I did meet earlier this month. We were both recognizing, and actually Larry was reminding me that a lot of these commissions take a break over the summer, or at the very least this commission does. And one of the things we were talking about doing was getting a better sense of all of the commissions, committees, and other things that are out there, and assessing which ones we think are better fit in terms of of our commission connecting with them, possibly collaborating, at the very least being more active in sharing information. So we're going to start working on that this summer because he and I are happy to continue to meet. but we would definitely like to see, I think, some more engagement with some of the other commissions, just like we do right now with the Transportation Commission when Tim is reporting on that. But we'll get back to everybody and keep in touch through email as we go. But that was our big project for the week or for the month.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you both, Alex and Larry, for your work, on the Partners and Access Committee. And yeah, please keep in touch with all of us. I hope that we can evaluate that and be a benefit. So great. Next, we have recruiting activity, Mr. Larry Keeler.
That would be me. Nothing yet, but I'm assuming that when the state starts opening up and we start moving about a little bit more, that I can make some more contacts and get some people and spread the interest around and see if we can get some more people involved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And folks, if you are interested in joining the commission, you can go to the city's disability resource page. I think it's a2gov/disability resources. And then under the disability resource tab, there should be the Commission on Disability Issues. And then you can also apply through there as well.
To the boards, and I think you can find applications under boards and commissions too.
Absolutely. Yep. Under boards and commissions as well. Thanks, Larry. All right. Next, go ahead.
I was wondering, how many open seats do we currently have?
That's a good question. I'm not sure at this time, but I can go back and look. I believe if I'm giving you a rough estimate as of right now, I want to say that we have at least one, maybe two, but I will double check on that, and then I will give you guys a confirmed number shortly.
Get back with me on that too, because I want to see that.
That's for our current committee, correct? The number of openings we have?
That's correct.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. Absolutely. And of course, Kinsey and the rest of the commission, I will double check that and send you guys the exact figures. So great. All right. Next, we have the Transportation Commission update with Tim Hall.
Yeah, so last meeting last month, we had a discussion of the Healthy Streets, which is proceeding like as of the new fiscal year, and also discussion of some quick build projects that they were working on. And they voted also to support a state proposed bill in the state legislature to allow undocumented immigrants to get driver's licenses. But those were the main things we did last week. This week, we have a discussion of the capital improvements program projects. And because we're in a year that it's just like a mid-cycle year, so no big changes or big new things are going to happen, but there's some little things, smaller things that can be modified with it. But also a presentation from the DDA. And the other thing I wanted to get to is that I saw like that both in the notes from the transportation, like from the city, like the transportation updates, that the Research Park Drive intersection, which I know has been an item of interest here in the past, that the light is installed and going to be like activated soon. And I observed that myself when riding the bus through that area. So now I actually is a good way to pivot to AAATA, because I actually asked them, because I know that way back when they wanted the bus to pull in there and they said, oh, we can only do one way because there's no light there. Well, I asked them if they were planning on going both ways in the fall, and it was not on their maps that they released for the new service. And they kind of gave an answer which leads me to believe they aren't, but they're evaluating it. And the reason not is because it would take too much time. And just So yeah, I figure if you really want it to pull in there, you probably need to speak up, because right now I don't think they're planning on doing it immediately. And yeah, the other thing is AAATA is doing a big service update. And I know they've given presentations on this and they're doing the public meetings. And I did attend, like, read all this stuff and attended a few of the meetings. Like, one thing I brought up about it is that the timed transfers have been changed, because a lot of the routes are like running different maps and different schedules, but a lot of the timed transfers are broken on weekends, or at least some that were before, like where now you have to wait 15 minutes longer at the Blake Transit Center. And this is not something that's going to stand out to people looking at these service changes. You'd have to look at the schedule to find that, oh, this bus now arrives there at 27 after rather than 42 after. And that means I'm going to have to wait 15 minutes for all these transfers. So yeah, they kind of said, oh, it's this trade-offs and everything. And yeah, so those were, I guess, a couple of the big things I brought up with respect to the service changes. And yeah, I guess that's my update, but
Thank you, Tim. In regards to the change of the times of arrivals and departures, is that due to, again, just the route change, or is that due to different members of staff, or both?
well, I do think staff has changed around. I mean, so they may have different ideas as to how to allocate service, but I got the impression the reason why is because, yeah, they are essentially updating the routes, kind of looking at what demand is now and stuff. But as part of it, some of the routes end up being longer, and that means they can't run a site. If they're running once an hour, they have to like combine it with another route to get enough buses and interline them. And the result of having to schedule that means that some routes have to arrive at a different time than they used to. And that can be off cycle with other transfers. And this is particularly on the weekends. The weekdays, it's less of an issue because they have more buses and can operate them on more of a time schedule. But weekends, it seems like they're trying to squeeze as much service as they can, which leads to compromises like this. And
Well, yeah, and it can also lead to sometimes if someone is rushing and they have either a chair or they're using a mobility aid. I mean, sometimes if people are trying to hurry from one stop to another or what have you, that can be an unsafe situation. But I mean, I appreciate you giving us the update on that, because that is important, and hopefully the citizens that are navigating to and fro can sort of plan for that.
yeah, I mean, I will say it's not like every route is like the changes. It's just that it does impact some routes. So in some cases, yeah, the transfers might be better, but in other cases it might be worse because they've reshuffled the schedule around. And so the last thing I did want to mention is this is actually something I brought up because of being a patient at like the U of M Medical Center, but they've seen, since COVID at least, they've moved. I mean, I know they've done some things at East Ann Arbor Medical Center, but they've also started using West Ann Arbor Medical Center more. And both of those are really difficult to get to on transit, being that you have to either rely on a U of M bus or Wave, or currently Flex Ride, but that option's going to go away for the West Ann Arbor Center. And I brought up, why don't we have fixed route service here? And the East Ann Arbor argument was partially that it's Ann Arbor Township, which seems like a kind of a silly argument for U of M, given that U of M is not paying taxes, whether it's city land or township land. And yeah, the West Ann Arbor, it is Scioto Township, which does have a purchase of service agreement, but it sounds like part of that is just routing and having time, because there's that little loop there that, yeah, if you were to take the 30 there, that would probably add more time to the schedule, which is always the issue here. But I brought that up in particular because, I mean, pre-COVID, there was a lot of things I could go to Taubman for. And now I find they're only offered at West Ann Arbor, Brighton, or Northville. And I don't know if other people are experiencing things like this, but yeah, it's important to service these satellite offices because sometimes the services aren't even available at the main offices.
Right, absolutely. No, you bring up a lot of great points. I mean, and again, I mean, we don't even know yet if those main offices, like you're saying, again, have the full services, and sometimes they're unavailable. But do you guys? I mean, it may be beneficial down the road to also have AACIL just present sort of this new plan that they have rolling out to us as well, so that any viewers that are viewing our meeting are sort of clear on that. But thank you, Tim. I appreciate the report and all the work you're doing.
All right, thanks.
Chairman Zach,
Yes.
I would like to mention something I found as a curiosity that may tie in with the transportation. I saw a little blurb. I have to look at it a little closer. I saw it pretty close to the meeting that apparently they're going to start electrical, the fuelless, a fuelless free shuttle service in Ann Arbor in October for downtown. And I don't know much about it yet because I didn't really thoroughly read the article, but that may be something interesting we'll learn about in the fall too.
Got it. Absolutely. That's a great point, Larry. I wasn't aware of the fuelless shuttle that you're speaking of. So,
I wasn't aware of it till a few minutes ago.
Well, that would be, I think that may be something that we could have AACIL present about maybe this fall to the commission and talk about that because it's
I'm not even sure it's under them yet, but we'll find out.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's thank you.
I don't know that those shuttles are. I think a lot of those kinds of things I've heard about have been like private companies testing certain things. And
okay, got it. Thank
it
you.
is supposed to be a free service, though. If apparently I do know it's fuelless, at least fossil fuelless, and it's a free service supposedly for downtown Ann Arbor. I don't know the specifics, but I did see it was supposed to start up somewhere around October 7th or 8th, 11th, something in that general vicinity.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for that information. I do appreciate it. If there isn't more information that comes out between now and when we meet next fall, and it does fall under, AACIL in some way, it'd be nice to have them talk more about that. But thank you both, gentlemen. Next, if there isn't anything else for the Transportation Commission, I'd like to move on to the U of M Council.
Hey, real quick, can I jump in on the Transportation Commission? This
Sure,
isn't exactly, what you guys were just talking about now, but I've got a question. So since it sounds like there might be limited access to transportation, like you were mentioning in Ann Arbor, to like the different hospitals and whatnot, receiving different services, I'm wondering if this commission or anybody you guys know in particular has ever looked into like food deserts, that sort of thing, like low access to different grocery stores and whatnot, and what you guys have done about it.
That's a great point, Commissioner Button. I don't know that we've actually, as a commission, really addressed that, whether that was something that we even thought of in terms of food deserts even existing around the city or with the city limits. And so I think that's definitely something that should be talked about and addressed. Were you thinking in terms of just being able to look into resources that we could provide, or are you saying, hey, let's do some research and find out if how prevalent these food desert spots are in the community?
Right. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think, the food deserts in and around Ann Arbor do exist, but it's just to the extent of how significant are they? I've done a little research on my own, and it seems like a lot of people were talking about it maybe 5 to 8 years ago, but the topic hasn't really been revisited. And maybe that's because the issue has been, you know, like not resolved, but it's gotten better. And that, if that's the case, great. But if not, I mean, I think that, you know, that's something maybe we as a commission, should look into, like you said, either research wise, or if there are other organizations that have already done the research and they have some solutions to it, make sure that those solutions include options for people with disabilities.
I completely.
What is the food desert? What is, oh, excuse me?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Commissioner Keeler.
What is a food desert?
So a food desert, just like in simplest terms, is basically an area like in or around a city that has low transportation access and usually low income. So people in that population, it's a food desert because people in that population have access to food because of lack of transportation and a lot of times lack of income. It's because a lot of times.
Well, I did know that.
Are placed too
I
far
did know that
away.
for a while.
Mhm.
I did know that for a little while, at any rate, from from one or two of the senior places in Ypsilanti, they were running. A-Ride had a bus that came in every so often and took people out to Kroger and stuff from some of the senior centers. I do know that was happening at one point, but I don't know if it still does.
Okay, nice.
But you bring up a great point, Commissioner Button, in terms of, you know, transit being an obstacle in individuals with disabilities having access to getting, you know, adequate food and nutrition, right? Versus if they have like a, and by the way, I mean, no malice when I mention a brand here, it's just off the top of my head. But, you know, if you have a McDonald's, okay, that's a block away and you can walk to the McDonald's. You know, they're apt to walk to the McDonald's and eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner probably than they are to, you know, especially during the warm Michigan summers, you know, trek all the way across, you know, the entire city to go to that Kroger and get the adequate groceries, not to mention to carry all the groceries up and down, you know, the sidewalks or, you know, how those groceries can be adequately you know, transferred. Not everybody can do Shipt. I mean, there's great resources out there, right? Shipt and great things with Meijer and even Kroger and different stores. But I agree with you. Not every person with a disability can even afford that, or Whole Foods delivery and things like that. So I think you bring up a great point. I think this is something that we should definitely explore and say, okay, is this an issue within AATA, as you said, or, you know, how can we eliminate this, and how big of an issue is this? And so I will, I'll send an email to you guys and sort of try and pick your brains about this and see kind of what the best route would be to go about this, because I agree with you. I think adequate nutrition is important for all of us. And of course, access as well to that nutrition is paramount. And so I completely agree with you. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, no, thank you.
I just want to add that we were dealing with this particularly in the pandemic in terms of delivery services and how bridge cards were not covering the fees for delivery, and the state had to catch up in addressing that when people literally couldn't access things. And I was just Googling food deserts, just like I don't know that that's a term that would accurately describe what you're getting at, because there aren't technically any food deserts in Ann Arbor. But in terms of understanding how the AAT routes connect to grocery stores, that's a different kind of a conversation, because a food desert is a technical term that there isn't a food desert in Ann Arbor. I mean, I'm aware of, like, for instance, on the west side of town, like, there are good bus lines that go to Kroger. I don't know how well the bus lines work in other parts of town and accessing other grocery stores, but yeah.
And could it be something, guys, where, you know how there's snow buddies that's developed for helping shoveling snow? Well, maybe there could be something down the line, and this is just an idea, that if AATA doesn't go by, or the stop, for instance, is too far away, or it's too troublesome for for them to get across the street to get that to that particular store that is closest to them. You know, could there be a grocery buddy, or I don't know, but something set up to where, you know, if there's an individual who has a disability that has a very difficult time getting to the grocery store, where there's a community set up to where they could, you know, assist them, or at least we could, you know, bring them to resources that could alleviate that. But again, very good points, you guys. And Elizabeth, thank you for the clarification on food desert, but also, you know, acknowledging that there is sort of an interesting disconnect there. So I think all of you guys bring up some great points, and I think it's worth further discussion. So I'm gonna, you know, send an email to everyone about that, and hopefully we can have a, you know, if we want to have a dialogue on this, you know, next fall to talk about it, or if we want to email back and forth in terms of, you know, some ideas and maybe shoot some links to some possible resources that we could incorporate. I think this is something that we could put on the agenda after our break coming back in the fall.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's yeah, super, super important. All right. Is there anything else on that? Or if not?
Yeah, yes, can I mention something too?
Sure, Deb, sure.
People are, first of all, being on the LAC board, which is part of AATA, they are gonna bring back the 30 bus going to Myers. And that was a big problem, getting to Myers during the pandemic. But the Wave bus did take people there, but you have to be able to catch the Wave. So, but I wanted to mention Meals on Wheels too. That's another resource that people can have for getting meals to their house every day. And it's, I think it's funded, so it doesn't cost the individual more than a donation, if they want to give one.
Got it. Okay. And no, thank you very much, Deb. I think that's very helpful, you know, information. And of course, you know, we want to look at I think the whole spectrum of this, because it's super important. You know, adequate transit for nutrition for people with disabilities, and then also how that's affected in the winter months as well. Because I have to tell you, you know, for myself, I mean, you know, I'm fortunate enough to where, you know, I've been through pretty much the bulk of struggle that you can with most tasks of daily life, like a lot of us have. So we've had the years to sort of learn the hard way and then find those resources in some ways. But again, because there are individuals that, you know, sometimes don't have a little bit of that disposable income from working a job, that can be even more troublesome for them. So I appreciate you bringing up the Meals on Wheels, but also I'd like to point out that even the weather can be a factor in getting effective nutrition in terms of getting to and fro to an adequate grocery store and things like that. And then also, you know, dietary restrictions and all that. So there's a lot there, and I'll write up an email for us to get some feedback. But I think all of you bring up some great points in how nutrition and food and transit all go together.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, I'd like to move on to the UM Council for Disability Concerns meeting update with Kathleen.
Hi, everyone. So there was in your email from Denise, there was an attachment that had not only June's meeting, but all the meetings back to the beginning of January if you wanted to catch up. Our meeting was held June 8th, and it was held by Zoom, and we're going to continue to meet that way until restrictions lift, I suppose, much like we are. There was a call for participation for fall programming. The council usually does there's a disability awareness month in October, and we usually have a lot of programming then. And last year with the pandemic, it just was not like in years past. So what they're calling for is, they tried a disability pride parade last year. It seemed to be well attended, even though it was virtual. So they're looking at collaborating with the AACIL and Detroit Disability Power to look into having another pride parade, probably online again this year. Anyway, they put out a call for participation, and I'll have more information. I guess it would be September that you would be hearing from me, because I think this is our last meeting of the summer. We heard from about an IDEA conference. IDEA stands for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility. That will be held in October. They are trying to raise awareness about the purpose of what the IDEA board is and inform the community on the progress that they have been making with their university recommendations. And they want to also look at different sessions on possibly mental health, gender identity, social justice through graphics and comics, things like that. All that is in the talking phase. The Newbacher Award process has begun. They're looking at nominations. Nominations are open for anyone currently or previously affiliated with the University of Michigan, students, staff, faculty, and alumni. We heard from Odie Norkin, who is from Michigan Flyer, and they operate Michigan Flyer within Indian Trails. And they're talking about how they are going to be, I guess, handling the contract for the A2D2, which they already handle the contract going to the airport. And they're looking at, their concern is that they've heard from folks with disabilities that they've been having a really hard time getting to the airport ride starts at the Blake Transit Center. And a lot of times, early morning flights, and fixed route does not start until, I believe it's 6:30 in the morning, 6:45. And so there are options like night ride, things like that, but they've been hearing a lot from their constituents that there isn't, they're not able to actually just rely on that themselves, because if it gets bogged down, if there are too many people who need the same ride, then someone's going to miss out on their flight. So what they're looking for is they are proposing, have a grant proposal in, and they ask the Council for Disability Concerns for a letter of recommendation to support the grant, because they want to team up with a company called VIA, V-I-A. It's a rideshare company that could guarantee rides to their people who are making reservations to the airport. So in other words, when you made your airport reservation, if you needed to get a ride to the Blake Transit Center to pick up your Michigan Flyer there, you could book that at the same time with this company. So more to come on that. And then finally, the U of M WISE recommendations that we talked about, there were 108 recommendations. We had asked them to kind of look at that a little harder through a disability lens. Who could benefit, who would be harmed, what's missing. We asked clarifying questions. There is a subgroup that's been put together, and we will be hearing from them once they've drafted their information. And so that's really all that I have. There's a lot more information, more fleshed out. Again, that is in your packet. If any of the public wants more information, that information can be found on the U of M website under the Council for Disability Concerns. And the next meeting will be held July 13th virtually.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And, you know, a lot of great work always being done at the U of M Council for Disability Concerns. Really excited, Commissioner Mozak Betts, really excited to hear about the VIA partnership and sort of the resource with that, because again, you know, transit is always, I think, something that is paramount, especially with travel. And again, that's definitely needed. So great work there. And then, of course, as far as the Disability Pride Celebration and all of that, yeah, exciting stuff. So please keep us, you know, on the forefront when you guys find out more this fall. Hopefully the commissioners, we can all participate in that, because that's important as well. And really excited to hear that you're working with Detroit Disability Power. They're doing a lot of great work. So awesome stuff, Kathleen. Thank you. All right. So next, we have the city personnel report with Denise.
Good afternoon. Okay, personnel updates. Shabazz Harris has been hired or welcomed to the city of Ann Arbor in the Public Works Technician. Joe Mead, also in Public Works Technician. Anthony Petraeus, Public Work Inventory Control Clerk. And Ray Radaz Jr., another Public Works Technician. And that's it for me.
Darn, no new job openings, huh?
Yes.
No, just kidding. No,
Hired.
yeah, just kidding. No problem. Thank you, Denise, and thank
You're
you
welcome.
to the city and all the staff for their continued efforts and doing a great job. And welcome to all the new city staff. All right. So moving forward, we have the chair report. So really, folks, kind of a light report on my end here. I will say this, that I would like us to, again, just to ponder during our wonderful summer break as we sip our, daiquiris or our awesome lemonade this summer. If we can just ponder while we're on a break about a vice chairman. And I know we've talked about it before in the past, but of course, we kind of put it off because there weren't, there wasn't, I would say, a pressing need for it, of course. But I personally just want to open it up again to anybody that is not just willing to do it because of, no one else being willing to do it, but somebody, again, that has a zeal to do it and wants to do it and wants to just gain that experience. So I'll open it up. And then what I'd like to do is just get feedback at the fall meeting just on individuals that are interested, and then we can go from there. And of course, it might be the same individuals as last time, and that's fine too. But I just wanted to mention that hopefully by this fall, we can know who's interested in the vice chairman position and then swear one in. And so we can have a vice chair and continue to go and accomplish our goals. So that's the biggest thing that I have in the chair report at this time. As far as that, I didn't know if there was any particular old business that we needed to discuss at this time. Is there any new business or announcements that anyone would like to make? Kathleen?
I actually just have a question. So since we're off for the rest of the summer, we'll hear probably at the beginning of September whether or not we'll be meeting in person or by Zoom. Is that how that's going to work out? Because we just don't know.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I was actually that was gonna be the next thing that I addressed, so I'll just address it. No, that's fine. I'll just address it right now, folks. So I did speak about this with Denise, and folks, the city is opening back up, okay? To be able to hold like in-person meetings and staff and different things. So we are able, okay, to meet in the council chambers again. However, it's entirely up to how we all feel as a commission. So if there are people that are just dying to get out and be back in person and meet, okay. But if there are others where this is more convenient and this allows them to participate and this allows them to get a bigger impact and serve the commission in a more impactful way than having to worry about transit, then we also want to keep that option open as well. So the discussion that I had with Denise earlier this week, folks, was that, I think for this meeting, we said, okay, let's keep this meeting, over Zoom. So we did, but then going back in the fall, we wanted to say, would the commission prefer to have, hybrid meetings? So there can be some that can be there, or there can be some that are remote, or do we want to keep it simple and say we can just stick with remote for this time? Or we can say, well, individuals, now that things are, opened up, we're gonna, require individuals, that can make it to City Hall be present at City Hall. Now, personally, I say, I inquired to Denise to see if the city would be willing to keep their Zoom subscription for us to be able to use for the time being, so that we could continue to meet remotely if that worked for everyone, and keep things simple, since I think a lot of the commissioners are used to this. However, I'm hoping that's not a problem for the city due to some commissioners having also difficulty with transit. But, in the event that there is, those that say, well, Zach, we'd like you guys to be in person now because, things are opening up. Is that something that you guys are open to doing? And I'd just like to get your feedback.
I mean, I'm
Larry
okay.
Keeler here. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I was just saying I'm okay going back in person. This is, though, participating remotely is probably more convenient because of the whole transit thing, just when I've got these, but I know that right now our ability to do this relies on the fact that there is like a state of emergency declared for Washenaw County. And if that ends, we don't have a choice. And the other thing is the ability for that to happen, I think, ends at the end of the year. So at some point, we're going to have to go back regardless.
Correct. Do you have the ability for Zoom until December 31st of this year?
My opinion would be, I'm sorry, it's hard for me since you can't see me to raise my hand, but my opinion would be to go to some kind of a hybrid form. Those who can attend should probably attend a public meeting, because personally, I like the public meetings down at City Hall. I get out, I can plan stuff around there, do other things, and see y'all actually in person. And, maybe go out to lunch with you afterwards or something of that nature, whatever floats my boat. But I'm in favor of personal meetings, but I'm aware that some folks sometimes can't make it for some reason. So I would be in form of some hybrid form if we can do that after the 31st.
I'd like to chime in here because City Council is actually looking at this issue because we are trying to recognize the convenience factor that has, like the accessibility that has been expanded basically for our online meetings. And it came up in discussion at a recent meeting because we're going to add to our rules some sort of acknowledgement that public comment is happening remotely. And I mean, it was an interesting conversation because in this year of online meetings, we have been subject to pretty significant harassment from remote commenters. And so there was this idea that on the one hand, requiring that somebody be local and actually be in person is cutting down on just sort of nuisance contributions to our meeting. But I did speak up on behalf of us, on behalf of this commission, and point out that it is a very real accessibility issue. So I am hopeful about City Council looking at accessibility issues for our meetings, which would acknowledge some sort of hybrid format. And in terms of the Zoom accounts that the city has, I can ask about that. I like I said, I think that we can be loud enough around accessibility issues to insist that the city retain some sort of Zoom membership. I imagine that the use of Zoom, if most of our meetings go back or if our meetings are hybrid, I imagine there's like a lower cost kind of a Zoom account that the city could get if we weren't exclusively on Zoom and we were just having, I don't know. I would be hopeful about that because I know I saw those in some of our agendas, and it's a little bit of money that we're paying for those Zoom accounts, but it does become an accessibility issue. And I support the idea of hybrid options for people who find it difficult, and people like Larry who really enjoy the in-person meetings. It makes no difference to me. I'm happy to participate, however.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is definitely something to explore. I would say, as far as the September meeting, initially, I'd like us to put this on the agenda, to continue to discuss in terms of, how the hybrid could work, just so that there's a plan. So hopefully we can discuss that. And then as far as the fall meeting, in September, so Denise, we could still meet remotely in September then, that's correct?
Yes, if you choose to. Please excuse my dog.
Okay. So I'd like to say then, are all of you in favor in meeting over Zoom then in September? Or are you in favor of going back in person or looking into some sort of hybrid option for the fall?
I'd be in favor of keeping it this way at least until September, when we can officially vote on it and wind down and see what the changes are going to be after the 31st.
Okay. I think that's a good plan. How does everyone else feel about that? Are you guys on board?
I think that's a really good way to look at it, that to plan in September for Zoom and then have the discussion, because we'll know more information by then. It sounds like City Council is looking at possibly doing hybrid. So all that heavy lifting and work is going to be done during the summer. So we'll have a better base of information to make our decisions on.
Exactly. Go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say, if we had the opportunity to go hybrid in September, I'd feel like we should go ahead and do it. But I could see if we can't, maybe stay on Zoom or this.
Yeah, I think, I agree with fellow commissioners in that I think we'll know more come September in terms of, what the capabilities are and what's going to be offered. Councilwoman Nelson, if you hear, any other developments on that in terms of what City Council is aiming to do come in the fall, and kind of what other resources may be out there, would you be able to keep me abreast of that, just so
Yeah, I can keep you posted. I have to say also that I think City Council is making slightly different decisions based on what can sometimes happen at a council meeting where there's a contentious issue. I know that the city attorney has told me that, like, he was concerned about overcrowding and, like, in the space, and I guess we're moving away from any of those restrictions. But one of the reasons why we couldn't go back to in-person is that you couldn't turn people away, and you didn't have any idea of how many people might want to show up and participate. And we don't really quite have that problem with this commission.
Right.
Yeah, I will keep you posted.
Okay.
I think it's right to delay the decision till fall, because I'm fairly certain that we're higher up. We're not going to figure out a way to do a hybrid by the fall. I think that's a little bit down the line, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm fine with that, guys. And if there are any developments on this, between now and then, I'm sure we'll discuss it. But Denise, I'd like to put this as an agenda item come the fall, so that we can just kind of know what our plan is, rather than kind of being abruptly come December, right? We can't use Zoom anymore, and then we're kind of abruptly back, versus having a plan and kind of easing back in things. So
Okay, I will schedule you for Zoom for the meeting in September, and then you can discuss it and make a decision from there moving forward.
sounds good.
And I'll add it to the agenda. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, folks. We'll plan on meeting in person in September. If there is not anything else for today, folks, I just want to say that.
Wait, I thought you said we were going to meet on Zoom in September. I wasn't sure which.
Yes, I thought we were doing Zoom in September.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I not?
Oh, okay. No, in person. Okay, Zoom. I plan for Zoom in September.
Yeah, Zoom is what I said. I apologize if I misspoke. But yeah, so we'll plan on meeting on Zoom in September, folks. But with that, if there's not anything else, folks, I just want to thank you all for your commitment during these months. It's been a pleasure to sort of work with all of you guys. I know that it's a lot to sit on here and think about different issues and try to communicate back and forth. But I think we've done a lot of very good things this year and the prior year, and I think that we're going to continue to move forward and be a good voice and make an impact. So I want to thank all of you, because all of you really do really make this a great opportunity. I enjoy seeing all of you, and I appreciate your time because it is valuable. So with that, I hope you guys have a great.
Not yet. Hold on a second there, Zach. I was going to try to put in something real quick before you adjourned.
Okay.
And that would be that Partners in Access is meeting during the summer. We've decided to meet during July and August. And if anyone would like to join us at that meeting, Denise has been putting out the reminders. So any of you are more than welcome to join and bring your ideas for Partners in Access.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Now you're good.
And I did ask if there were any announcements before I was about to adjourn, by the way, but no big deal.
Sure. I had to sneak mine in there. Not a problem.
No, absolutely. But thank you very much, Larry, for all of your work, and thank you for reminding us of that. We do appreciate it. So folks, they are meeting in July, and if you guys have time and an opportunity to meet with Larry and Alex and be a part of the Partners in Access, feel free. They do a lot of great work, and it's needed. So with that, if there isn't anything else, again, I just want to reiterate that I appreciate all of your time. It does really help the commission. You guys are great assets, and I enjoy working with all of you. If there are pressing issues in between now and when we meet in the fall, please do not hesitate to get a hold of me, and I will do my best to address that. But I want to thank you all. Go ahead, Larry. What was that?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Okay. But if there is anything in between, please let us know. I want to thank all of you for your individual time and your efforts. And I hope all of you have a fantastic summer. And thank you to the City of Ann Arbor. And thank you to the Community Television Network. Have a great summer, and we'll see you in September.